Hello everyone, nice to be back with you. We've been learning about snails, haven't we? I've got another story for you. Now before we start with that, have a look in our corner. Have any new characters appeared? I wonder if you can spot any. Have a look. Okay, well, today's story is about a snail which is teeny, 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 and a whale which is big, 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 big. Oh my goodness, so big. So the story is called The Snail and the Whale. And it's by Julia Donaldson, who happens to be Scottish like me. This is one of my favourite stories. There are lots of little things in here that I quite like, so I'll try and point some out to you. I might just tell you them all at the end. Axel, of course, drew the pictures because he always does the pictures for her. And they're so lovely, the pictures. Are we ready? Let's start from the beginning. Here we are. Can you see it all right? There we go. This is the tale of a tiny snail and a great big great blue humpback whale. This is a rock as black as soot, and this is a snail with an itchy foot. The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships in the dock. And as she gazed, she sniffed and sighed. The sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail, said the tiny snail. These are the other snails in the flock, who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock and said to the snail with the itchy foot, "Be quiet, don't wriggle, sit still, stay put." But the tiny sea snail sighed and sniffed, then cried, "I've got it, I'll hitch a lift." This is the trail of the tiny snail, and the silvery trail that looped and curled and said, "Lift wanted around the world." My goodness. My trail yesterday didn't say anything, did it? It was just a squiggly one. I wonder if yours said something. This is the whale who came one night when the tide was high and the stars were bright. A humpback whale immensely long, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. And this is the tale of the humpback whale, held out of the starlit sea, and said to the snail, "Come sail with me." Ooh, for his travels he gets. This is the sea so wild and free that carried the whale and the snail on his trail to towering icebergs and far-off lands, with fiery mountains and golden sands. These are the waves that arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. These are the caves beneath the waves, where stripy fish with feathery fins and sharks with hideous toothy grins swam round the whale and the snail on his tail. This is the sky, so vast and high, sometimes sunny and blue and warm, sometimes filled with thunderstorm, with zigzag lightning flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. Oh my goodness. And she gazed at the sky, the sea, the land, the waves and the caves and the golden sand. She gazed and gazed, amazed by it all, and she said to the whale, "I feel so small." But then came the day. The whale lost its way. These are the speedboats running a race, zigging and zooming all over the place. upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to the shore. This is the tide slipping away. And this is the whale lying beached in a bay. Quick, off the sand, go back to the sea, cried the snail. I can't move on land, I'm too big, moaned the whale. The snail felt helpless and terribly small. Then, I've got it, she cried, and started to crawl. I must not fail, said the tiny snail. What on earth do you think she's going to do? Oh, here we are. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, sit straight, don't talk. This is the board as black as soot, and this is the snail with the itchy foot. A snail, a snail! The teacher turns pale. Look, said the children, it's leaving a trail. This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail saying, save the whale! These are the children running from school, fetching the fireman, digging a pool, squirting and spraying to keep the whale cool. This is the tide coming into the bay, and these are the villagers shouting, hooray! As the whale and the snail travel safely away. Back to the dock and the flock on the rock, who said, how's time flown and haven't you grown? And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves, and of how the snail, so small and frail, with a looping, curling, silvery trail, saved the life of the humpback whale. Then the humpback whale held out his tail, and on crawled snail after snail after snail. And they sang to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the grey-blue humpback whale. Oh, my goodness me. So, what a lovely story. How a small, small snail managed to do something amazing. This story has a couple of things in here that are really lovely for me that I really like. First thing I want to show you is the name of the boat. Can you see the name of the boat? Oops. The Pride of Glasgow. Whereabouts in Scotland do I come from? Glasgow. So it's all about the Pride of Glasgow. And then, a bit further in the book, there's another boat. And it says St Mungo. And that is the name of the school that my daddy went to when he was a little boy in Glasgow. And then, even better, at the very back of the book, it says here, can you see? For everyone at Hillhead Primary School. And that is the school that my nephew goes to, Owen. Or so he used to go to. He's now grown up. So he's now at secondary school. But so it's a lovely story all about snails with some nice little touches that I rather like that are really special to me. How are you getting on with snails? Have you been looking at Matisse? Have you done some nice collage? Hope so. All right, everybody, take care. I've done a silvery message for you. Would you like to see my slime trail? Are you ready? Here it comes.